Today on the Topping Show, Ulta Beauty launches an advertising campaign with a man dressed in drag and goes viral on social media, but not in a good way. Biden administration apparently ignored 65,000 calls for unaccompanied migrant children in danger. Kroger faces a protest after shutting down a store due to mass theft. Hulk Hogan passed away last week at age 71. Stellantis has already lost $2.7 billion this year, and a chainsaw is being recalled for being, unable to stop. All of that and much more on The Topping Show. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT, value-added research and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. Tease me, see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or business owner, reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, still giving away a free flamethrower with every IT purchase with Picatinny rail adapter so you can mount it to any standard AR-15 like all awesome accessories can be. Go to toppingtechnologies.com and click the flamethrower button to learn more and see me shooting a flamethrower. Lastly, trying to get to 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part podcast, it turns out, Stellantis is doing worse than we thought, losing $2.7 billion thus far. Now, this is credited to Brian Hurd at thedrive.com, and I'm sorry, you're going to have to see a Stellantis vehicle, so maybe you want to avert your eyes. And they say, quote, Stellantis has already lost $2.7 billion this year. We knew things were bad at Stellantis, but not this bad. And here you can see the Dodge Charger with, I was going to say, maybe that has their straight six engine, which all 15 people will, I'm sure they'll be very happy customers. But yeah, no one is buying that crap. Now they say, quote, Stellantis is in a rough spot. Between multiple consecutive quarters of declining sales, increased trade costs, and a string of delays releasing critical new products, the company announced that it had booked a 3.3 billion euro, $2.7 billion US dollar loss in the first half of 2025. With US sales dipping again by a chunky 25% in Q2, it looks like 2025 is shaping up to be another grind for Team Mopar and its European overseers. Here in the United States, the company's sales has suffered from 1-2 punch of disappearing products and skyrocketing prices, and the latter of which isn't helped by a recent shift in policies that punished its strategy to build several of its volume models across the border in Canada. Also making crap that people don't want to buy, probably a variable as well. They continue saying, quote, the situation is even sketchier in Dodge showrooms where Stellantis is forced to offset import duties on its Italian-built Hornet with cash incentives. An updated Compass, which occupies a smaller space in Jeep's lineup, will be along at some point to help shore up the small car sales volume alongside the revised Mini Cherokee, or as I call it, the Elizabeth Warren Mobile. After a string of crippling delays, the company's updated Ram 1500 truck lineup has been making its way onto a handful of consumers. As a result, the sales of the half-ton are hovering close to their 2024 number. Ram is hoping to further invigorate pickup sales with the reintroduction of the 5.7 Hemi for 2026. Yes, that will actually help. Because again, the dumbest thing Dodge has done in a while, and the parent company Stellantis, was say, you know what truck owners like? They want a straight six. They don't want a Hemi when they buy a Dodge or a Ram. They want a straight six. Same engine we're going to put in mediocre sedans as well as cars and other vehicles in the Stellantis portfolio. They'll love that. Obviously not. Truck drivers love the good old V8. An age-old philosopher, I forget his name, but perhaps it was Confucius. He said, there's no replacement for displacement. And nothing makes truck owners happier than a good old V8. That's why Ford is smart. Well, not 90 plus recalls, but they're smart enough to get the customer what they want. The entry-level truck for Ford, for the 1500, you got the V8. GM, same thing. The Chevrolet, this route has V8. GMC, same thing, but different body panel. Oh, same body panels, actually, but just different logo placards on the vehicle. GMC Sierra, also, lo and behold, V8. So it's an instance where Ram was the only company to go, we're going to do a straight six. They're going to call the engine is called a Hurricane. Perhaps because it's a monumentous, dangerous disappointment? Perhaps. But yeah, the dumbest thing they ever did was take the V8 Hemi that Dodge is known for decades upon decades, and put a straight six engine in there, which is also having massive issues with quality. It is one of the dumbest things I've seen in the automotive history. And again, Dodge, Ram, they like the Hemi. The hemispherical heads is a whole marketing shtick, and there's a debate as old as time is the benefits versus costs, yada yada. But at the end of the day, people loved it. Part of the brand, and they make great engines. And then they go, no, we're going to go straight six, which is great for BMW with the stick shift. It'd be a great platform for an engine. BMW's perfected the straight six. But yeah, for a truck, they're going to have V8. Now, they also note that the former CEO, Carlos Tavares, is out. And they do note that, again, they're going to bring the V8 into the truck. And then there's rumors that, the Charger will have V8 as well. So we'll see about that. But yeah, that's another big issue. I mean, in terms of massive volume of sales, the Challenger and the Charger, they sold like hotcakes. I'm surprised. I mean, they literally sold everything you could possibly fathom, from an itsy-bitsy little tiny engine all the way to the Elephant 1,000+ horsepower engine, which obviously had, 8 cylinders of glory. And they also had the option for a stick shift, which I appreciate because that's game very rare. So to take that great high volume car and turn it into an EV or a straight six with a car that sounds pathetic as well, yeah, that was not a smart move on their part. So we'll see if things pick up. Well, pun mildly intended because they're pickup series. But yeah, I don't see this year getting any better with Stellantis, as there's just not really compelling reason to buy anything from their portfolio. I mean, I know one person has bought a Dodge in the past 12 months, and they only bought that silly little SUV because there's massive discounts on it. Which again, that would be the Hornet that you're referring to. But I mean, we'll see if things get better. But I'm pretty skeptical. But are you surprised by the fact they've lost $2.7 billion? I mean, personally, I'm not. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Going over to the Cultural Pride podcast, you have Ulta Beauty doing a promotion with a man in drag and going viral on social media because, well, of course, it's moronic. Now, this is brought to us thanks to Libs of TikTok. And she said, quote, Ulta Beauty just did a makeup collaboration with this dude pretending to be a girl. Disgusting. And you see a man with a very, very strong jawline, beard, long feminine hair, wearing a dress, going inside of an Ulta Beauty apparently. And of course, he's going to sound, as you would predict, cliche as hell.
Javian hair is now at Ulta, and I'm here to see the display for the first time, you guys. Hi, honey. What's your name? Paulina. Nice to meet you, Paulina. Hi. Nice to meet you. What's your name, honey? Nice to meet you. We're gonna see what Javian hair looks like at Ulta for the first time. It's gonna be Ulta fun. Okay, let's see it. Who's that? She's so pretty. I got highlights since then.
So, in true narcissism, he is pointing at himself in the poster board, saying, "Who is that?" Well, it's obviously you.
Who's that? She's so pretty. I got highlights since.
And he calls himself a she, of course.
Then, you guys, do you think it's pretty?
It's gorgeous.
Do you think she's gonna get along with all of her other new Ulta friends?
Gorgeous, of course. She fits right in.
She does, right? Javian hair is now at Ulta Beauty
And he's wearing high heels.
nationwide. We love the hair you have.
Now, culturally, I mean, I think this type of marketing strategy is kind of petering out. But again, I understand why they do it. Who's the people that spend the most amount of money on makeup? Well, they're, liberal white women. There's a lot of gals who only piss away a lot of money on makeup. I think it's one of the dumbest things women spending money on. Again, men waste a lot of money as well. I would argue on different things. Hobbies and cars, modifying your car is probably a big one. But in terms of in terms of waste of money, makeup has had to be one of the top things ever invented in terms of stupid. It's almost unfathomable how much money people waste on makeup and the profit margins for those items. I personally think it's one of the dumbest things on the planet, but nevertheless, this went pretty well. I got 1.2 million views and 15,000 likes. Now, again, I don't agree with this marketing strategy, but makeup companies are going to try to double their sales. I don't think they ever will. I think they're also just leaning into what liberal women love. And, they like these kinds of things. A lot of these gals on the social media are calling this guy brave, beautiful, etc. funny third thing. It's kind of just a cliche copy-paste of Dylan Mulvaney, who got millions of dollars from big brands, including a tampon company. And again, Dylan Mulvaney is a man, but women liked it. Personally, I think it's disrespectful, the way that they were basically doing women face and profiting off of it. But perhaps I'm alone in this assessment. Everyone in the comments is calling him brave and beautiful and lying. Now, not really, but we'll check it out anyway. Well, the first one comes to us thanks to Balmer saying, quote, "He isn't acting like a woman, he's acting like an over-the-top caricature of what some gays think women act like," getting 746 likes. Which, well, this wasn't the top response, but a little biased. I think this person is handsome and brilliant. Me, the Topping Show, I say, quote, "Dylan Mulvaney 2.0, LOL," getting 5 likes. Gunther Eagleman says, quote, "WTF is wrong with these people," getting 1.1 thousand likes. we say that, but at the same time, this guy is probably getting a couple $100,000 this marketing promo. An unfathomable amount of money for what he's doing. Scroll down, you have Trump Tracker. I'm pretty sure I follow him just because he's more of a contrarian. Because again, like gets a little bit boring if you're in an echo chamber. Now he says, quote, have you tried crying about it? Sometimes that helps me. He gained 27 likes, 14 responses, and 7,000 views. Jeez Louise. George says, no, I will just quit shopping there and not give another thought. Gain 2 likes. Which again, I do debate, will this have any negative impact on their sales? And guys don't waste money on makeup. And I would guess most women who are more conservative and are against these things probably don't waste as much of their money on makeup as well. Maybe maybe Ultra's core demographic, this is going to actually increase their sales. That's not out of the realm of possibility. Now you also have John Rucker saying, quote, makes me nauseous. I hope they go bankrupt, getting 2.2 thousand likes, which I certainly don't think they will. Going down more and more. Dr. Shuri has a gentleman holding a sign, picture rather, saying, quote, if genitals don't define gender, how does removing them affirm it? Off-Right Grier has a picture of the cliche Halloween costume of people dressed up as a horse, and it's labeled trans woman, and they have a real horse, and it's named woman, getting 663 likes. Off-White Groper also has a sign that simply says women don't have penises, getting 404 likes. Dr. Shari also says, quote, hope Ultra loses 99% of their business for partnering with this degenerate freak. If people shamed these disgusting people and made them realize once how abnormal and hideous their ways are, maybe things would finally start to change back to normal, getting 803 likes. I mean, a lot of the incentive mechanisms is for people to lean into that because, again, they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars, they're getting social accolades on social media, they're being praised left and right. I mean, Dylan Mulvaney is perhaps the best use case, culturally speaking, when it comes to incentive mechanisms for falling into the great realm of leftism. Before he dressed up as a woman, as I pejoratively say, go on the woman face campaign where he had his days of womanhood, where he was just stereotypical women stuff, not realistic at all. I mean, he was just a gay man doing videos on YouTube. No one really cared. It wasn't until Dylan Mulvaney started to do the whole women face campaign when, I mean, he went viral on social media. I think he literally got $1 million brand deal from Ulta Beauty. I mean, millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of likes on social media. Everyone, most people on, this has become a political issue, praising him. I mean, they're doing it for a reason. And I don't think it's healthy, but I think that's a great example of how social media can manipulate people to change their whole personality and their whole lifestyle. Now, scrolling down more and more, you have Oregon Shari saying, quote, I don't know any women who act like this, so I don't know what he's pretending to be, getting 121 likes. Matt says, considering the customers are women and you think they find a way to do the gig, go woke, go broke, getting 208 likes. Hershey Squirt says, good God, what a bundle of sticks, getting 147 likes. Dr. Mingo says, quote, they're always over the top flamboyant. Annoyingly flamboyant. No one normally behaves like that. It's such an act, getting 265 likes. American USMC veteran says, quote, well, ladies, it's time to boycott Ulta Beauty. Obviously, Ulta hasn't gotten the memo that America is finished with all their woke garbage. Look at Sephora is going to be upping their sales real fast, getting 1.1 thousand likes. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Sephora as a makeup company, I wouldn't be surprised if they do the same thing. No, Julie says, quote, I believe Sephora is also running ads in stores like this. I'm done with both. You can purchase most of what they can directly from the manufacturer, getting 44 likes. We'll see. Well, let's see here. Mrs. M also says, so effing weird. Guess I'll mark Ulta Beauty off my list of businesses to shop at, getting 321 likes. Rigo Star says he's also a child groomer, getting 226 likes. I guess I should say allegedly. Amelia Henderson says, quote, these corporations keep worshiping woke delusion instead of respecting women. This garbage would have been unthinkable 10 years ago, but now it's called inclusive, getting 162 to get 163 likes. So, what the heck? Julie B says Sephora has also gone woke. Buy to both. He is on let's see. Is that Sephora? Yeah, Sephora.com. This guy has a collab with them too. To his credit, his hair does look long and luscious. I'm sure he's using their products. But yeah, we'll see how long Woman Face is profitable for these businesses. Oh yeah, here we go. I was right. Taylor Silverman says, never forget. There's a YouTube video from Ulta Beauty's YouTube channel where they said, the beauty of girlhood with Dylan Mulvaney. Which, yeah. It'll be interesting to see how many, obviously these companies are doing it for not just cultural, motive, terms of they want to have accolades from their customers, but also for financial gain. I do wonder, again, the only time we've seen a conservative boycott really being historically successful is the Bud Light campaign. That was, again, that was $1 billion impact on the company, and it got them to change their tune pretty darn quick. But I mean, historically speaking, I think makeup companies are mostly bought by woke left women. I guess maybe if you're a guy in Hollywood, you might buy a tube of Goop or whatever they make. But I don't think there's much incentive mechanism for them to listen to conservatives in this case. I mean, of my married, I was going to say, of the instances where I've been privileged to be in a relationship, they've been more conservative gals, and they really didn't spend much money at all on makeup. I think one of them spent a little bit, so he had like a couple bottles, but like on average, I don't think this will impact their sales in a negative way. Culturally speaking, I think it's ridiculous. I think it's disrespectful towards women, because I think this person is obviously doing a caricature of a woman. But it'll be interesting to see. I don't know. I mean, I don't think a boycott will actually be taking place here. That'll have a big fiscal impact on the company. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting cultural news: you have Kroger facing a protest after closing a store due to crime. How dare they? Now, this is brought to us Ed Wokeness, and that was sarcasm right there. And he says, quote, Milwaukee protests Kroger for shutting down in a black area with crime. Let's see. Perhaps they'll give very articulate reasons why a company should lose money time and time again by being, in a crime-ridden area. Obviously not, but we'll hear what they have to say. I can't help but think every time I see a protest, immediately I think unemployed or paid by someone behind the scenes to protest. Again, this is a weekday. I mean, how do you have time to go out and protest?
$9 billion increase over the previous year.
Let me go to the very, very beginning.
$9 billion increase over the previous year. And they can't keep a few stores open in the neighborhoods that need them the most. If this were a real system that served the actual interests of people, there would be an exit tax.
Ridiculous. They also have a sign that says, end the war on Black America.
On Kroger for pulling out like this, but instead they can give 18 days notice and say, yeah, we're going to be out of here. Everybody that works here out of a job, everybody that depends on the grocery store for their food, for their medication, for their supplies. It's too bad. Food is a right. It is not.
The extremely obese women waddling around in the protest line. Though they are walking, I give them some credit. I didn't think they could.
A privilege. Everybody needs it.
One of the gals says that's hilarious. I mean, yeah, it is. I almost feel a tad guilty, but one of the very obese women has a shirt and a sign that says "Food for all." Like, clearly you've had enough. But this guy says, "Oh yeah, they've had over $9 billion increase." Let's see here. No, so year-over-year revenue going from 2024 to 2025, Kroger, their revenue went down by 1.94%. In 2025, thus far, let me see here, 147.1 billion. And the revenue actually went down. Their earnings per share went down. And what's their profit rate? Well, the net profit margin is 1.81%, also known as razor thin, also known as terrible. They're not unique to this. It's kind of the industry standard is 2% for grocery stores. Target and Walmart are about the same. Target usually hovering around 1.61% profit margin. Grocery stores are terrible business models in terms of, again, it's just a couple wrong moves and you're out of business. It's also why you don't see any new grocery stores. Think about it. Most of the grocery stores we see now all started in the 60s or before, 1960s or before. Because, again, razor thin margins, just a couple mistakes, you go bankrupt. And the only real way they're starting to stay in business long term is to add supplemental things like Walmart selling T-shirts, TVs, other crap like that. Same with Target and other things. And this person is saying, oh yeah, they just lose money forever. No, it's also your community's fault. I mean, these companies aren't stupid. They cannot lose money at a store. Also, there's a legal liability of protecting their employees and their customers. And again, I'm not a fan of lawyers, trust me. But that is a variable and a reason why some companies are trying to leave these shitty neighborhoods. It's because they are also worried of those lawsuits. And your neighborhoods are causing these food deserts. Some of these companies have been overly charitable, I would argue. Walmart famously, in 2024, closed a store in Southside Chicago. They lost money for 17 years. They never made a profit once at that store. But they did it, I suppose, just for brand recognition and feeling like they're doing the right thing. But they never once made a profit at those stores. And they finally got to the point, I guess the CFO woke up at Walmart. They realized we just can't continue to have these stores open. And by the way, our employees and our customers also are in danger. So, this is one of the most ridiculous things where your neighborhoods are causing these stores to close and leave. If it was a safe neighborhood and the store was making money, they wouldn't leave. And they keep trying to say this is correlated to race. I think it's more like a culture thing. It's an instance where it doesn't matter what your customers are, in this case, they're leaving because of the thieves. It doesn't matter what they look like. They're going to close the store no matter what if it's losing money time and time again. And the crime is going more and more and more. Interestingly, I don't think they're closing a lot of stores in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, or Iowa City, but nevertheless, it's an instance where it's all about the viability of the business. And especially grocery stores, of all the industries where it is really hard to stay in business, grocery stores are one of them. And Kroger is actually going down in sales. I mean, Walmart, their sales are going up. But again, Kroger, I would argue all the grocery stores, they should be in trouble, or they should be thinking about what do we strategically do, because again, I almost compare Kroger to like Target. It's just expensive. It's everything Walmart, but more expensive and more bougie. There's no, I mean, it's not a necessity to ever go to a Kroger. It's not like I hate the company or anything. It's just 110% a luxury item. You don't need to go there. And time and time again, we're seeing more and more of these protests where like, oh no, how dare these businesses leave? Of course they're going to leave. Especially as times get tougher and companies have to tighten their belt. One of the first things they do is close down unprofitable stores. No one wants to be the next Radio Shack. Radio Shack famously, during their first bankruptcy, it was almost suicide because as a condition of bankruptcy, they agreed that they would not close any stores when American General were to purchase them, which meant once the purchase was complete, those stores that were losing the money continued to hurt the company and were a contributing variable of why they eventually went bankrupt for good. So it's completely asinine and silly that these people keep protesting. Oh, and there's, of course, in true Marxists and fascists, they're letting their, in communist fashion, but letting the saying quiet part out loud. Some of them even have posters that say end capitalism, which is kind of hilarious because they bought that poster presumably from somewhere or maybe stole it. And the poster only exists because of capitalism. Creating the whole factory. I mean, just to create the posters and get sold and shipped, it takes multiple jobs, multiple businesses, multiple people putting food on the table because of the beauty of capitalism. And these people are saying, oh no, it says end the war. And again, they have, of course, it's a weak looking white guy who doesn't look like he bench pressed, but that's beside the point, who's speaking at the podium. And that poster says, end the war on Black America. Again, these companies don't care what you look like. They only care if is the store losing money in the neighborhood. It doesn't matter. I mean, they would do this if this was near Native American area or, white area or blonde or, I don't know, Native American or Indian American. Both kinds. It doesn't matter about the race. It's about losing money at these stores and the increase in crime. Now, maybe this has happened so many times, that's why it didn't go as viral as I thought it would. But this got about 773,000 views and 11,000 likes. And one of the first comments, so I'm a little biased, it's not the number one comment by number of likes, but one of the most handsome and brilliant one. Meet the Topping Show on X, in which I say, quote, how dare Kroger want to have a profitable stores? The audacity. They got 49 likes. Paul Zupa says, quote, crime cost in ways people never imagined, getting 547 likes. Captain Trash McDrunkface, I was going to say his very descriptive name. Now he says, quote, effing savages are destroying their own neighborhoods and they think it's racist for these companies to move or shut down. Maybe try not robbing them blind and stealing from them and they might stay. Enjoy getting groceries at the corner store, getting 2.4 thousand likes. Machi Brogan Hernana says, quote, stop committing crime for F's sake, getting 1.6 thousand likes. Yeah, Deepak Kumar saying, quote, Milwaukee's outrage over Kroger closing stores in a high crime black area is justified. Access to food shouldn't be dictated by race or state. Wait a minute. He said, it can't be real. Is he trolling us? I'll reset this. He says, quote, Milwaukee's outrage over Kroger closing its store in a high crime black area is justified. Access to food shouldn't be dictated by race or safety statistics. It was a harsh blow to an already struggling community, getting 52 likes and 358 comments, which again, in terms of, that is actually really effective engagement baiting. First comment, is he ratioed? He was. Amy, Dr. Chai, MD for Congress says, quote, why don't you open a store in that area and see how long you last? You would not live long. Getting 166 likes. 167. As youth might say, ratioed him completely. Jenna says, stop stealing then. Getting 71 likes. Bonabo says, how about people quit stealing? Getting 295 likes. 296 likes now. Misty also says, open your own store then, Chief. Let your empathetic kindness financially ruin you. Put that on someone else. Getting 38 likes. Capitalist 7076 says, let us keep stealing from you indefinitely or you're racist. Getting 49 likes. He says, sounds like you found a business opportunity getting 151 likes, which, yeah, those grocery stores are not coming back. Again, the cost to set up one of those stores is a multi-million-dollar investment just to set up the stores, just the building, the infrastructure, and then, of course, the stock with inventory. That's a huge investment. I don't see any company going to these neighborhoods and going, you know what? Even though the store's already built, we'll buy that store, we'll start to stock it. No, absolutely not. You also have somebody named a masculine base saying, quote, you can't protest your way out of reality, crime kills businesses, getting 687 likes. What the heck does this mean? You cannot like posts of protected followers you aren't following? What the heck? Masculine based. Oh, that's weird. I guess you can't follow him. Not very based of him to have a protected profile you can't like. Weird. King Frog also says, why would a store stay open in an area where they're constantly losing money to theft? These people are retards. Got 198. Or no, 198. Let's make 199 likes. To which, I think Robert Downey Jr. would say something to the effect of, you never go full retard. Probably something to that effect. You also have the conservative alternative saying, quote, but if you shut down our store, where am I going to go shoplift? The protesters probably. Getting 1.5 thousand likes. Barry P also says, this is Trump's fault. How dare they not let themselves be robbed all the time? Racist. Getting 160 likes. Yep. Dave Santa Clara says, quote, she's out here protesting for more food. There's a very large, morbidly obese African-American woman in a t-shirt with though, to her credit, she does have the physical strength to hold up a megaphone, which I suppose takes a modicum of muscle mass to do that. I got 1.4 thousand likes. And again, this is going to happen more and more in these leftist shitties, as I pejoratively pronounce cities, as, yeah, this, it's just going to get worse and worse. Now, I can't stop. There's a brilliant quote on the screen, and Thomas Sowell is, well, he's extremely based. This is posted thanks to Rob T. Now, he says, quote, this is a quote by Thomas Sowell. He says, quote, civil rights used to be about treating everyone the same, but today, some people are so used to special treatment that equal treatment is considered discrimination, unquote. Getting 345 likes. So yeah, I can't help but think these stores are going to be leaving these areas more and more. And again, we'll see what the solution is long term. Maybe these communities will change. Maybe they'll clean up their act. I mean, again, it's a culture and theft is why these stores are leaving. If the community is okay with theft, and it's just going to keep getting worse and worse. I mean, look at Chicago. I mean, I'm sure they'll be good next year, like the Chicago Bears. Sports pun, just like the shitty. It has not been habitable for about 100 years. And I suspect that this, like the Chicago Bears, they won't be livable anytime soon. And they won't win a Super Bowl anytime soon. But let me know your thoughts, guys. As always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting cultural news, a little bit late. Last week, Hulk Hogan passed away at age 71. This crowd was thanks to Clay Travis. I thought this was perhaps one of the best clips of Hulk Hogan towards the end. And he says, rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. I love this man. What are you going to do when Hulkamania comes for you, brother? That's probably the worst Hulk Hogan impression all year, but the attempt was made, damn it.
What happened last week when they took a shot at my hero? And they tried to kill the next president of the United States. Enough was enough. And I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother. Let Trumpomania rule again. Let Trumpomania make America great again.
As we say, there's a lot of famous quotes by the Hulk Hogan. I think my favorite one is, quote, train, say your prayers, eat your vitamins, and believe in yourself. Which, that's probably one of the best quotes. In terms of being a best made man who made the dent in the universe, I mean, Hulk Hogan's up there. I mean, even as a kid, I was big into wrestling. Even I knew who he was, and loved all the clips of him. And it literally just means one of the best examples of self-made man. And I mean, it went viral last week. I'm a little late to cover it. It's got about 500,000 views and 7.2 thousand likes. We also have Joseph D. Bardale saying, quote, there will never be another. There's a picture of Hulk Hogan ripping off his shirt, getting 28 likes. Wayne Pruski has a picture of Hulk Hogan and Jesus. And he says, welcome home, brother, getting 13 likes. We also had Travis saying, quote, sad day. We ran into him at the hallway at the RNC. And he looked terrible. They were basically holding him up. I was thinking, oh man, this speech is going to be bad. They absolutely killed it on stage. A performer till the end. What a legend. In 58 likes, which, 63 likes, going up like a stock. But yeah, it's one of those things where definitely one of the GOATs. I mean, shoot, he was a face of wrestling for years. And yeah, just sad to see that. Again, he also had Ozzy Osbourne pass away the day prior. But yeah, good old Hulk Hogan. Rest in peace, brother. But let me know, what was your favorite clip of Hulk Hogan? Do you remember him growing up? As always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Going over to the political part podcast, you have the Biden administration apparently ignored 65,000 calls for unaccompanied migrant children who were in danger. Now, this brought us thanks to Liv's TikTok, in which she says, quote, holy shit, the Biden administration set up a hotline for unaccompanied migrant children to report safety issues with sponsors. 65,000 calls went unanswered. Only one person was reportedly assigned to take all the calls. This is, oh, there we go. Ms. Hopper speaking.
So you're telling this committee that the Biden administration,
or this Mr. Chase, talked to her,
while they were letting all of these unaccompanied minors into the country, and as we've talked about today, they weren't keeping track of them, they issued these kids a hotline that they could call if they had trouble with the sponsor family that they were put with, and you're saying that 65,000 calls to this hotline designated to protect these kids went unanswered? Is that what you're telling this committee?
Yes, sir.
Wow. That is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Do you know how many staffers the administration assigned to answering these phones and helping these kids?
One.
One staffer? Any idea how many hours a day this staffer was working?
No.
Maybe that's why there were 65,000 calls that weren't answered from these little kids, huh? Unbelievable.
I mean, it's actually very believable in terms of all the ineptitudes of the Biden administration. Again, this is also another side effect of having basically an open border. A lot of children get hurt. A lot of them disappeared too, like over 300,000 as well. You don't hear anyone crying about that on CNN or ABC or MSNBC. It should be. It's a real big issue. Yet, you don't see any outrage from them, at least. And this one pretty viral. Got 1.3 million views and 16,000 likes. And again, when it comes to that one employee, just, when I think of government employees, count the thing that person maybe logged on for 1 hour and did 1 minute of work. Again, that's almost statistically impossible. You had 65,000 phone calls and you answered one? Or one person was assigned to that job and they didn't answer one phone call. I mean, that actually sounds very accurate in terms of the work ethic of an average government employee. I mean, that's almost impressive in terms of being moronically inept. They couldn't pick up the phone one time out of 65,000. That is, well, pure leftist work ethic right there. Now, go in the comment section. Well, the first one comes to us thanks to Paul Zupa. He says, quote, the Biden administration did everything horribly, getting 297 likes. Matt Van Sol says, I'm sorry, people need to start going to prison over this stuff. 65,000 people were calling about abused kids and one person was staffed with answering the phones. What the F? Getting 2.3 thousand likes. Amelia Henderson says, quote, a single staffer handling 65,000 calls is government negligence on a massive scale, total failure. Getting 368 likes. Big Granny Woo Woo, that's the name apparently, says, quote, one point in particular reportedly called the hotline many times to say that, oh Jesus, try to keep this mildly family friendly. I'm going to try to reword it, but again, maybe cover the ears or earmuffs, so to say. Again, this gentleman says, quote, one point in particular reportedly called the hotline many times to report that adult men were coming into this room and touching it inappropriately. Tell me again how Democrats are protecting our most vulnerable. They weren't because they don't give a shit, and they still don't. Getting 902 likes. Junita Broderick says, quote, I saw this yesterday, just as horrific. Can you imagine being one of those children in desperate need to be rescued and no one answered? There are no words. Getting 1.2 thousand likes. Freedom Lover simply says you cannot hate the Democrat Party enough. And it's a bumper sticker saying Democrats are evil, getting 349 likes. The Vault says they finally got it right. There's a looks like a proof mint penny, and with Biden's face on front, it says 0 cents, getting 159 likes. We also have Trevor saying, quote, He tagging Saturday. Oh, he's tagged Saturday Night Live. They're not going to touch this subject, I doubt, or I don't think. He says, "Why don't you write some jokes about this?" Getting 23 likes. The Vault has a picture or a cartoon of Biden checking his watch at a funeral, and some people are saying, "Do you have a few words, Mr. President, Mr. President?" And it says, "F Biden, go and F you for voting for him." Getting 171 likes, which, yeah, one of the dumbest things. Again, there's such a long list of dumb things that Joe Biden did in his lifetime. I mean, staring at your watch at a military funeral was one of the dumbest things you could possibly do, and disrespectful, obviously. I mean, even like even a rudimentary sales rep out of college knows you don't check your watch when you're at a meeting or with someone important. And yet, one of the most important things he was at, Biden just looked at his watch, which, again, stupid. Forgotten Country also says, quote, this is evil. One person for 65,000 kids in danger. They don't care about these children. They used them for headlines and then left them to rot. This is the legacy of failed open border chaos. Getting 175 likes. True. Now, the real question is, will anyone actually be held accountable for this? I hope so, but again, Republicans are very good at making lots of noises and getting people riled up and, selling headlines on Fox News, how still in business, and then no one's actually held accountable. Again, I think they should. I think someone should be prosecuted or charged over this. It's extreme negligence. But unfortunately, I'm pretty skeptical if anything like it ever actually happened. Let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have a chainsaw being recalled because, whoops, it might just not stop. This is brought to us thanks to the United States Consumer Product Safety Commission, perhaps the only useful government website. Well, granted, it's a pretty darn low bar. And they say, quote, Postech recalls electric corded chainsaws and pole saws due to laceration hazard. Here you can see the specific one pictured is the HyperTough brand, which is a brand owned by Walmart. But again, this is an instance where, one company in China makes this. One company in China makes all these. They slap on different logos. And it's pretty common when it comes to a lot of these power tools. Spoiler alert, TTI and Stanley Black & Decker own a lot of the brands that you think are independent, but enough ADHD. Now, they say that, quote, the recall involves the HyperTough 9-amp corded 14-inch chainsaw, the Works 8-amp 14-inch electric chainsaw, the Works 8-amp electric pole saws, and Portland 9-amp 14-inch chainsaw. And here you can see they have all the labels on the... Well, I'm so used to, I have more firearm vernacular than chainsaw vernacular, so I want to say the trigger guard, a little piece of plastic in front of the trigger. I suppose you could also call it the bottom of the handle. And yeah, if you look at them, all these chainsaws are exactly the same moldings. They just have different pieces of plastic. But yeah, that's, again, same factory, but different colored pellets in the plastic reservoirs. Now, just going to the recall, they say that, quote, apologies about that. And say that the main switch on the recalled chainsaw and poles can fail, allowing the saw to continue to run even after the switch is released, which poses a laceration hazard, which, whoops, yeah, that's the one thing you want the thing to do is stop when you release the trigger. Or if you're ignoring OSHA, you just, hold, duct tape that trigger open, or trigger to be pulled all times. It's not recommended. But it looks like this affected about 49,000 units in addition to about 3,000 that were sold in the country of Canada. Now, they say that consumers should immediately stop using the recalled products and contact Postech, again, that's POSITEC, for a prepaid shipping label, and a new box is needed to return the units free of charge. Postech will provide a free replacement chainsaw or pole saw upon receipt of the recalled product. Now, the nice thing, or the good thing about this recall, to their credit, they did get ahead of the situation. As right now, there's no reported injuries or deaths that have occurred because of this manufacturing defect. So again, there's a little silver lining to this situation. Now, they say that these are sold at Walmart under the HyperTough brand and Harbor Freight under the Portland brand, and other stores nationwide online at Works.com, Amazon, Walmart, and Amazon.com and HarborFreight.com from September 2024 through March 2025 for between $50 and $120. And again, this is manufactured in China, recall number 25371. And yeah, when you have one of those things where there's certain things that are manufactured where you should have a special, concern when it comes to, quality assurance. Dangerous things like chainsaws, and especially one of the few moving parts that matters, the trigger. I mean, I don't know how you make the mistake of not having the utmost quality assurance when it comes to that switching mechanism. I gotta say, they are certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, try to get 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so you click that button. I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, and comments. Great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone, everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.